Ready for takeoff.
Hello everyone, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. So I'm super excited to be doing this video today because this is finally going to be the video where I talk about my application process for the Disney College program, and I'm sort of sharing my major keys, you know, like DJ Khaled, I don't know, I think I'm funny, but MEG'S, the major keys to success applying for the Disney College program, and just my experience and how I got accepted on my first time. So I typed up a bunch of notes here so I can remember everything that I want to talk about. And as always, if you enjoy this video, please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And feel free to reach out. I put my email at the end of this video as always, and in the link down below, and my Instagram, you can DM me. I have already looked over a ton of people's resumes for spring 18, and I really like to edit resumes in general, so if you need any help, just let me know and I'd be more than willing to help you out. So again, today I just want to talk about the DCP application process and my experience. So I know that there's hundreds of these videos out there, but this is the best way to learn about the process. These videos and getting all the different opinions and tips out there are the best way to learn and the best way to prepare, and you can never watch too many because you can never be too prepared. So I definitely recommend checking out other videos. This is what helped me get through the process, and vlogs in general help with the waiting game that you're going to be playing once you do your phone interview, because let me tell you, it is a long wait. So my vlogs can hopefully help distract with that. So now, without further ado, let's get started. So applications dropped for the fall 2017 season on Monday, January 23rd, 2017. And I applied on Thursday the 26th. So I waited a couple days to apply. So the first tip that I'm going to give you is there's a lot of differing advice on when to apply for the program. Some people say to apply right away, some people say to wait a little bit. Really, it truly does not matter. I suggest not applying the first day because the first part of the application that you're going to submit is basically just like filling out a resume. You're going to fill out your work experience, basic information about yourself, all that. And all of that goes through a computer. Nobody actually reads your application except for a computer. So to help the system out a little bit, I suggest waiting a few days, just because the first 24 hours they're going to get thousands of applications and the system is going to get very, very just overwhelmed. So I just suggest waiting a few days, even a month. I know some people that waited a month because then they figured, well, I would have less time to wait for my decision, which is true, and they have just an equal chance of getting in. I know people who applied on a whim the last week and got in. I don't suggest waiting till the last week because obviously there is more of a chance since a lot of the spots are already full and everything like that, but you really can apply whenever you want. I suggest waiting a few days if you want to get your best bet of not landing in submission. So as soon as you submit your application for the college program, the initial part of the application, the step one, your dashboard will say, will go into a couple states. It will either go right into no longer consideration, which unfortunately at that point you are out of the process, but most likely it will go to in submission or in progress. So in progress means you are good, you're probably going to move on with the process, and you're going to get the web-based interview. Submission is what a lot of people talk about. So what submission is basically like a middle ground. It's sort of like a wait list, like when you're applying to college, essentially. Because you're not necessarily on their first list right now waiting to move on, but they might get to you. It's kind of difficult to explain. A lot of people are afraid of submission because it is hard to get out of submission and move on to the web-based interview. But this past recruiting season, there actually were a couple submission waves. I know people who applied when I did, got put in submission, got out a week later, and literally got accepted a week later. So waited less than I did. So that's why I like to say to apply a couple days after applications dropped, because a lot of people that applied in the first 24 hours were put in submission, maybe because the computer system was overwhelmed. I don't know, because again, I'm not a recruiter and I really don't know how everything works. But since it is computerized, and if you want to run that risk of not being put in submission, I suggest waiting a few days. Essentially what the computers scan for, they scan, you know, your resume that you submit on the initial application, is 4 keywords. They're really just looking to see if some of your past experiences fit what Disney is looking for. So this is why I like to talk about the 4 keys. I'm sure you've heard that term. That's why I call them like the 4 keys of success. They are safety, courtesy, show, and efficiency. They are super, super important. Now, the trick is, don't lie on your application. Don't reword things to fit as many of these in as possible to make it stand out more, because it won't. You don't need to overuse the words. A lot of times, a lot of your experiences, you can easily fit these words into describing. For example, safely monitor children during daycare. I don't know, whatever you did, but that involves safety. Or efficiently checked customers out at a register. You know what I mean? So it's pretty easy to work in the words, but please don't try and overuse them. And there's no reason to stress yourself out about it, because I can guarantee you'll find ways to naturally work them into your application. So that'll help when the computer scans it. There's no reason to overuse the words. Really, there's not. Also, when listing your experiences, when describing them, and when listing your skills, make sure that you describe them sort of as briefly as possible, because short and sweet is key. Again, because nothing is actually reading your application, that's why it is so important to just keep them short and sweet. And also in general, on a real resume, when you go apply for other jobs, companies don't like to sit and read through a million pages of resumes and words, because the truth is companies only look at your resume for about like 30 seconds. So it's important to make things stand out, keep it short and sweet. Don't throw in a bunch of extra fluff. Just say truly what your responsibilities were, short and to the point, and just list your skills out, like customer service, leadership, organization, teamwork, etc. You don't need to do sentences for the skills, just list out briefly what they were. And there's also been a lot of talk, at least I saw this on the fall page a lot, people were freaking out when listing their skills or when typing their responsibilities, if they did like bullet points or complete sentences or put periods at the end of the bullet points, at the end of the sentences. That doesn't matter. Do whatever you want. If you want to do bullet points, do bullet points. If you want to do complete sentences, do complete sentences. I did bullet points without periods at the end if it really matters, but I can guarantee you it does not make a difference. It's all about the words that you use, not necessarily how you type them, but do check for spelling errors, because obviously that's important. You want to look as professional as possible. So the second step was about 30 minutes later. I sent in the initial application. My dashboard changed to in progress, and then it changed to immediate action required, and I got an email about the web-based interview, also known as the WBI. Don't panic. My dashboard changed to immediate action required, like I said, about 30 minutes after I submitted the application, but I didn't get the email for the WBI until like 2 hours later. So don't freak out if it says immediate action required. You are good, you are all set, and you will get the email eventually. And I believe, I don't remember the time frame you have to do it, it could be 2 or 3 days. I waited until the next day just so I wouldn't stress or anything like that. And I had my school book me out a conference room in one of the buildings so I could be in total silence, assured that no one would come in, because it is a timed test. And if you don't know what it is, it's basically a personality test. So they're going to be assessing, like, you know, psychologically through questions like, I am not one to get angered easily, and you would rate that like very much like me or like not very much like me, and certain stuff like that. And you have to read the questions carefully, because a lot of times they reword the same question multiple ways to see if you're being consistent. Consistency is key on the web-based interview, because they'll say stuff like, I am generally a positive person, and then a couple questions later they'll say, I am generally not a positive person. So you have to just read for stuff like that and pay attention. But also don't lie, because this is really how they're going to assess if you have the right type of personality to work for Disney. And they are looking for a specific type of personality, and you have to know what you're getting into. So if you generally aren't one that works well under stress, or is happy all the time and can deal with people, then you might want to reevaluate applying for the program because it is very tough. But just make sure you are being consistent on this web-based interview and don't lie about it. Also, you have a minute per question, so don't freak out. That's plenty of time. You will be totally fine. So if the time is something you're worried about, it's not a big deal. Now, right as soon as you finish that, I think it took me about 30 minutes or so, right at the end, as soon as you answer the last question, the screen will come up and say, yes, you've moved on to the phone interview, or no, sorry, you're done. So right away it came up and said that I moved on to the phone interview, and it will prompt you to schedule that right away. So on February 1st, I had my phone interview. I scheduled it. So it was, let's see, I took my web-based interview on the 27th of February, and I picked January 1st. That was the furthest out that I could, February 1st. That was the furthest out that I could pick it. I had my phone interview with Natalie. So it lasted about 20 minutes. It was great. The interview made me feel really comfortable. And this is the part that stresses people out the most because it's a phone interview. It's a really big deal. Just some suggestions I have is to try and make sure that you can get a private space where you know you won't be interrupted. Again, I had my school book me a conference room because my career services department is awesome, so I could assure that no one was going to come in. I was going to have complete and total privacy and would be totally good. Also, you should dress for success, so try and dress business professional. I tried to dress, actually I think I just wore jeans and a top, but if you dress nice, I tried to look cute, so you know, it would give me more confidence. It would help with my interview skills. Also, make sure you give yourself plenty of time. I woke up early that day. I think my interview was at 9 because remember they can call 15 minutes early and 15 minutes before. So I would be in the room ready 20 minutes before just to be safe. And my interviewer actually ended up calling at 9:20, which was 20 minutes after my time was supposed to be. So just calm down. I promise they won't forget. I also had, if you watch my vlog about my decision, I had set up a bunch of different note cards that just said like breathe, slow down, smile, just to remind me, because if you smile through the phone, they can definitely hear that excitement come out. So it's important to remind yourself of that, and I talk really fast, so it's important to remind yourself to just slow down and calm down because this is a big moment, so I know how easy it is to get nervous. So in terms of preparing for the phone interview, this is the part where most people freak out a lot. It's really easy to find the questions that they're going to ask. People talk about it on the pages all the time, and literally just Google. There's thousands of blogs out there. I found a really good guide online. I don't remember who it's by. I can link it in the description down below if I can find it. But with a bunch of interview questions, you can even find role-specific questions. If any of you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. I can email you all the questions that I have. I have a whole document of questions that I can send you and help you out. I really over-prepared. I have like 10 pages of notes with answers to questions, and yes, it does help. Do practice phone interviews. Please, please, please message me if you want to do a practice phone interview, and I'd be more than willing to set up a time to call you and work with you because doing those helped me the most. Sitting there just reading through my answers, trying to study like I'd be studying for a test didn't help. I had my friends practice with me, my family, my career services department practice with me. So it's super helpful to get all that and get feedback to make sure I sounded natural and all of that stuff. Now, that being said, I did have the big packet I had of notes in front of me on the day of the phone interview, but to be honest, I didn't look at it once. You really will just speak from the heart, and I promise you, your interviewer will make you feel comfortable. Before we even started talking about like the questions and everything, when my interviewer called, she was like, oh, like, have you been to Disney World? What's your favorite park? What's your favorite ride? So we had a bunch of conversations about that, so that will definitely make you feel more comfortable, and it'll be like a conversation. She'll, you know, respond after your answers, and it really just is flowing and it's comfortable, and it's just like you're talking to a friend. So there really isn't any reason to stress. I know that it's stressful, but I can assure you it will be super calming, and it's honestly kind of fun. I enjoyed my phone interview. So again, Try to practice without notes, because I can guarantee you on the phone interview, you will not look down at them once. It's helpful to have there in case of emergency, but you also don't want to have your interviewer on the phone hear you flipping through pages of notes, because that's not good. And sometimes if you read off your notes, you sound really scripted, so that's why you don't want to do that. My phone interview was about 20 minutes, which is normal. I've heard interviews that have been 15 and some that have been 25, and I've seen people get accepted on all spectrums of lengths of phone interviews, so there's really no specific time that tells you whether or not you're going to be accepted, unfortunately. That's just how it works, and you have to wait. So make sure you have good questions to ask at the end. I suggest asking 2 questions to your interview at the end. I'm trying to remember what I asked. I believe I asked her how she got her start with Disney. We connected because she was a human resources major, as am I, so we connected talking about that, because that's what I want to go into. So we got talking about that, and I think I asked her a question about classes or the volunteers program or something like that, to let her know that you're interested. I did not take any notes during my phone interview. All I did was write down the interviewer's name, so at the end I could be like, oh, thank you so much, Natalie, for your time. I look forward to hearing back from you about my decision soon. Just to let her know that even after those 20 minutes went by, I still remembered her name, which shows off well to interviewers. Also, there is a lot of debate about whether recording your phone interview is a good idea. I did not record mine because I did not want to watch back on it and regret saying stuff. Now, it can be helpful because if you do unfortunately get rejected, you can watch back and try and get a feel for what you did wrong, per se, or what you could improve on. But in my opinion, I just wouldn't record your phone interview because it really will just make things more stressful, because you will regret it a lot more. And even if you don't get accepted, there's no reason to regret it, because you can keep trying, and the Disney College program is never going to go away. So you can keep trying, and that's the awesome thing about it. Again, if you need a practice phone interview, please let me know. So after my phone interview, the waiting game began. Again, I'm not a recruiter. I don't know how it works, so I can't tell you how long you will be waiting. But I waited from February 1st to March 30th to give you reference. And people who applied after me waited less. People who applied the same time as me waited less. People who applied the same time as me waited more. Can't guarantee you how long, but I waited 2 months and it was stressful, I can guarantee you. But just do stuff to distract your time. Enjoy your time at school, because college doesn't last your whole life. So enjoy that, and make friends on the pages. I was lucky enough to meet some girls on the pages to talk to a little bit, so we could relate about our stress and all that stuff of waiting. So definitely do that. Don't find roommates, because trust me, it's sad. If you find like the girls you want to room with, then people don't get accepted, but it's just good to have friends that you can talk to about the process. And some of the girls that I talked to before didn't get accepted, but we still talk, and I'm going to help them, next time when they apply and all of that stuff. So the Facebook pages are really helpful to meet people and get your questions answered. So that was my process. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's probably going to be super long because I talk a lot. But again, please let me know if you have any questions. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Feel free to comment below. Find me on Facebook, DM me on my Instagram, MEG'S, or email me, which is linked below. If you have any questions, I can review your resume, edit your resume. I could do practice phone interviews with you, whatever you may need. Any questions, I would love to help you out, because I know how stressful this is, and I wouldn't be where I am today without the help that I've gotten from people applying for this process. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'm recording this on Monday, July 31st, and I check in exactly a week from today, and I'm currently waiting for my itinerary, which is super exciting. So with that, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.